Jameson 5 back again, and I know I don't usually do videos like this. I'll usually have the camera facing the other way. Also, I just realized what shirt I was wearing, and I could have worn a Beatles shirt, but I'm pretty sure I would be mocking everyone else in the Thomas community, and I would make a few jokes about that along the way. Anyway, I want to get straight into this video. I've had many people, I was going through my comments, and people were asking about my custom, like all of these modifications I've done, so I will be going over, well, I don't know how much time I'll have, but as many models as I can in as much detail as possible. And I believe that there's this new feature on live streams where people can see what you said in the chat in the past when they rewatch it, so that'll be helpful. So when people rewatch, it won't seem like I'm talking to myself. Okay, so without further ado, I have Thomas, Percy, and James. I have them all here, but these are the three engines I'm going to go through first. So I think we'll start off with Thomas. And we only have about 2 people watching at the moment. It's because I'm starting at a weird time, but hopefully more people will join as we go on. So here's Thomas. His face is a normal Hornby Thomas face. So, although the eyebrows have changed a little bit. The vacuum pipe is actually Stepney's vacuum pipe, so it's actually a lot longer than your standard one. The lamp is a Bachmann James lamp, and it's Thomas the Tank Engine. And the lens part I painted gold, and I painted the buffers matte, this hook matte, and the vacuum pipe matte, so they're not shiny. The bolts are blue. I believe there were some metal parts showing down here that I painted black, so they're not as noticeable. There's a crew in there. There's 2 of them. The back, I've done this square. It looks decent, but I think I could have done it a bit better, but I tried. Hello, Darren Washington. These buffers are matte. The couplings on both are black. Can you do a black James? I do want to do a black James, but the Hornby James is expensive, but if I ever do get a duplicate, if I find one secondhand in poor condition or something, I will probably do that. So the running board is white on here, but the white actually doesn't go all the way around, but I fixed that problem with some clever masking tape tricks that I've learned. And that's how I got in all these crevices and stuff, so that turned out really good. The inside of here is black. That's one thing that bothers me about pretty much every brand of merchandising. They'll make this inside part blue if it's molded, but it's actually black, so the inside of that is painted black. Make season 22 in a nutshell. I did actually. I just finished it today. Go into my channel, Lucky Mushroom Productions. There's a video called Big World Big Adventures Intro, which is a parody video, and that's basically my summary of the series. What else is there? Oh, he's missing a whistle. Obviously, that's not a modification. That's something I gotta fix. The crew members are in there. Oh yeah, the underneath is red. I feel that just looks a lot better because blue looks kind of cheap. I don't know what else. Originally, I painted this gold for some reason. Well, my brother, this was originally my brother's Thomas, long story. And he said, make the buffers and this part gold, just to make it stand out, and I did. And then whenever I wanted this to be the Thomas I use in my videos, I sanded those down, then I repainted them black. So that's why his buffers look kind of flat. They're not as rounded as Percy's. So they kind of look a bit used, which there's not a problem with that because that actually looks pretty cool. I'm just looking over this real fast. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, of course, it's obvious. I've given him a matte finish, so he's not shiny. I think that's it for Thomas. If I forget something, I'll come back to it. I'll surely remember. I've even done some wagon customs while I'm looking at it. I do a lot of these. Hold on. Double-sided tankers. That R looks really stupid. I don't know why, that just looks weird. There's a lot of people joining. Hello to all of you. Do you have a custom Edward? Yes, I do. I'll get onto him shortly. So this side says tar and this side is brown. So depending on where the camera is, it looks like it's a tar tanker. And let's say I wanted a scene where I wanted a brown tanker. I would flip it. So it's pretty cool. They did that in the first season to make the most out of their tankers. And I've made custom trucks as well. These are Season 1 trucks. That looks cool, thank you. This is a black truck, which it was originally red. I just looked underneath, there's still some red. It was originally a red open wagon, but I'm not a huge fan of the colorful one, so I made it black. Because I was watching some Season 2, and they used a black wagon quite a bit. So, anyway, I did not mean to get off topic there. Okay, let's move Thomas back. Here's Percy. Percy I have done a lot to. He was actually my first Hornby Thomas engine. I'm glad y'all are enjoying this. I put way too much time into these models, but I want to make sure they look perfect. Also, I've just recently cleaned all of their wheels and lubricated them, so their wheels are pretty much spotless, and they get really good pickups. Like, I've even gone in and cleaned the pickups themselves, so... People are like, every few years or so, I have to rebuy a new Thomas. How do you keep yours for so long and stuff? It's regular maintenance, pretty much. Always, if you own model trains, always do regular maintenance, or you'll end up with a broken engine. Alright, so with Percy, I just noticed his eyebrows wearing off a little bit, so I will go have this video done. Sorry for that super loud vibration. That was a text I just got. Okay, he never had lamp irons. I'm thinking about adding them to Thomas, because his front looks a bit plain, but I'm not too sure how I feel about doing that. These lamp irons are from a Bachmann James. I think I've just ripped them off and glued them on there. The vacuum pipe is painted in a matte. The buffers, see, some of them I choose to do the buffers matte, some of them I don't. Like with James and Percy, I didn't make a matte. It's just my choice, really. I make the blue engines buffers matte and stuff. It's just my choice of how I think the colors look better and whatnot. So with Percy, this is the old one, by the way. So remember, the old one never had a white running board. I had to go in and do this entire white running board myself. And it was a pain in the behind whenever it came to masking this thing. But it came out really well. And I've seen some people trying to do white running boards, and they turn out terribly because they don't ever mask it off. Mask it off because it looks much, much better. Anyway, the bolts are green, like the wheels. So is that little inside part. Although his bolts aren't like, I just totally forgot what the name of that shape is called. Whatever that shape is called. It's not really a bolt shape. It's a total circle, so it looks a bit different. just different. Unique, as I would like to say. Now, the cap pops off, and I'm going to do this to show you with detail. Most people know that the Hornby Percy has a painted on whistle at the back, which looks super stupid. I don't know why they added that. Some of them have two, but I've removed that. You can see a little bit of residue from where I've gone in and tried to use the exact same paint color. But that whistle is now gone. Because I thought it was really weird to have a cartoon whistle behind two really realistic whistles. So there's that. Also, I just noticed his cab doors. I've seen in many people's reviews. Like, you can literally, like, it's so thin right here, you can see through it. I'll have to fix that. Oh, God. Okay, yeah, his face just came off. All their faces come off. Because I had different face masks I put on them. But James's, which I was going to say for James, but I'll do it now. His face is actually, I put a magnet inside, so it just sticks on. So, anyway. What else is there? Percy, I didn't give a matte finish because I think he looks better shiny. Again, it's just personal preference. This back buffer is actually a screw. It's not a real buffer because this buffer fell off a long time ago. So I just put a screw back there, and no one seemed to notice, so I guess I did a good job. That lamp was originally green. That's white now. Hello, Oliver and Edward 13. I'm trying to think of what else I've done to this. You know, all that detail up front is one of the more noticeable parts. This part's matte black now. The hooks are black, too. There's just certain things. Oh, see, I totally forgot. Okay, this part I painted green because from the front, these would be black and it looks super ugly. Hello, a wooden railway channel. And underneath, I've made the running board red instead of green because in the show it's red, not green. So I have a bunch of rolling stock over here, so I have to move all this over. Coincidentally, I'm wearing a Def Leppard shirt, which is British, so that was a total coincidence, but hey, it's Thomas, so. Can you put NWR logos on your customs? I might put on some rolling stock, because I think that would be interesting, but my engines, I go for more of the TV series. Livery-wise, I go for the TV series. Shape, I go for realism. That makes any sense. Like Railway Series shape, but livery of the television series, if that makes any sense. So, here's James, and I have not done very much, although, when it comes to the inside of the cab, that's another story, but we'll get on to that. His bolts are black. You can't even tell, but I painted the lamp irons in this hook matte so they don't shine. His buffers do that. That little part is black. And as I showed you, his face is magnetic, so I can just take it off here and then stick it on. And since it's magnetic, I can do stuff like that. It's something. I'm thinking of starting a Hornby collection. Great. Just know that it's gonna take a huge chunk out of your wallet. Yeah. But anyway, that part's matte. I like the couplings being matte because as much as I like, people take off the couplings altogether, and I love the way these Hornby couplers look, but I don't like them being too noticeable from the front, so that's why I make them matte. If that makes any sense. Also, when the light's shining down on these, and it sometimes causes a lens flare, for those who know what a lens flare is, and it's really stupid because it blocks out his face. So I do things for a reason. This stripe is originally red. I made that gold, which was very, very hard to do. Very hard to do. A lot of this is just masking. Masking is one of the most important things to this. This little safety valve back here was originally red, but it's now gold. These handrails are... I tried not to make the gold too noticeable, but it's there. Those are now gold. Now, the in-cab part is where all the detail comes in. So originally, here, I'll just take out the crew members, and I'll show them off in a second. They're actually not crew members, but I'll get on to that. Okay, so the inside was originally, it's just sculpted black, but I've gone over it with it's not even, James's smoke box is huge. Yeah, but it's awesome. Okay, but now the inside, I couldn't even use a paintbrush. I had to use a tool it's like a really thin tool I used to draw on the eyebrows. I had to go in, well, I didn't have to, but I did this so I can get views from the cab. I went in and detailed every little bit inside of there. That looks like an easy job. Wait till you get onto Gordon and Henry, and it took hours to do this. I mean, like, you can't even see it because this quality's kind of garbage. These little levers are blue and red, and it was just forever. It took forever to do. But it looks really good. The tender, I don't think I've actually done anything to it. Yeah, the tender's just stock standard because it's pretty much perfect. Although I think I'm going to put gold on some of the detail in here. Just really small things. That's the thing, is people overdo it with the gold and the silver. I'm like, just don't overdo it. Just enough is enough. You know, like, there's a drawing, there's a line that gets drawn where it's either not, it's too basic, or it's like some people would go in and detail all these. It's like, you don't have to do that. It's James, okay? Now, the crew is actually, here's what I use for my crew members. So there's a board game called Axes and Allies, which is a game that your grandparents might know about. What do you think about the Bachmann Rosie? I think she's really cool, and I hope to get her as soon as I can, although I don't really care for Rosie. But anyway, Axes and Allies, and they come with these really small army men. So what I do is I cut off their guns, because obvious, and I paint them all blue, and I give them gold detail and stuff. So from this angle, you're like, yeah, those are army men. But when you face them backwards, you put them inside of a cab. These are just some little tips with your boy, James Fan 05. And you put them back inside the cab like this. Lo and behold, you have 2 crew members. That's a tip you should keep in mind. So that was my round of these 3. My next 3 that I'm going to get are going to be Edward, Gordon, and Henry. So I'm going to flip the camera around whilst I go get them. Just feel free to ask whatever you want. This will just take about 5 seconds. I keep them all in a big display case. So I gotta grab them. Alright. If you can still hear me, one thing I do want to mention is that James's paintwork is very prone to getting things on it. Like, it's like, you just have to be really clean when you're handling them. Yeah, if that makes any sense. So, alright, here we go. These three are very large, so it's taking me a second. Okay. Man, Gordon is heavy. Hold on. Okay, I think I can flip the camera back around. I'm going to check the chat and what has happened so far. Oh, it's a Bachmann! Yes, we'll get onto that. Hold on. Do you have the new Hornby Gordon? Well, indeed I do. And I also have the older one, which is right here, because I'm using this chassis for something right now, but here's the older one, for those who don't believe I have them. I have a lot of the older ones. Okay. Here is Edward. I would like to get the Hornby one, but it's like I like the Hornby one and the Bachmann one the exact same. So right now I'm completely fine with Edward, with having a Bachmann Edward. I think he's a really good model. With Edward, I've extended his running board. His face is a little bit awkward right now because I don't have a really... Okay, obviously I didn't use the Bachmann Edward face because I don't think it's all that great. So I used a Tommy face and repainted it a little bit to make it look more like a season 12-ish face. Because these... Okay, so here's what I'm trying to do is the bodies, like the paintwork, I'm trying to make it look like they're season 12 or 11 livery because that's what they used in the TV series last, and I think it looked really professional, so... So yeah, I don't have any really good Edward faces. For now, that'll do. I mean, people think it's alright, so I'll stick with it for now. Now, on the front, there's a lot of detail. These buffers are super fragile because they're re-glued on. I've added a chain on the hook. This lamp is actually a tail lamp from a Bachmann James. So you can see where I'm getting my parts from. These bolts are blue. I sprayed them with a matte because Bachmann's shiny paintwork is atrocious. So now that he has a matte finish, he looks a lot better, and he looks a lot more like the Hornby engines. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. I'm trying to think of what else there is. Okay, so on this part, I've put some black cardstock in here because I thought it would always look, because I was watching some scenes from the television series, especially from the 8th season, because there's a nice close-up of Edward's wheels, and there's no gap in between here, so I just filled that up. Same thing with the front, and he looks really nice. This part was the most tedious task. I had to paint all this, and there was nothing I had to base it off of, so I just had to base it off of memory, and, like, that's where you fill up the water. I remember that from As Good as Gordon. There's a scene with Emily's water filler thing. I mean, that's all. Like there's nothing, as you know, there's no ink cap detail. So I just kind of, I mean, this took a long time to do. I used that little thing I was talking about earlier. Paint that part red. I think it was always red. I can't remember, but yeah, and that was tedious, but it looks really cool. So there's Edward. And here's his tender. His tender has a chain, matte buffers. Does his front have it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, his front has matte buffers too. I just forgot. There's a chain, but it's underneath his coupling, so it's kind of pointless, but, you know. These I've sanded down, so they look a little bit on a slant from here for some reason, but I sanded those down because they went out really wide. I did some detail in there. It's just, I wanted to put something in there, and I made that red, and these are black, and on the other side are black, and I painted the inside of these black. So that's Edward. I had to do quite a lot to Edward, because Bachmann's engines aren't very detailed, but I'm quite happy with them. Okay, next up is Henry, which I've had some electrical problems with. That has nothing to do with this video. Again, I'm going to detail the inside of these two tenders whenever right before I start filming for the rest of my season. Henry, I didn't have to do too much. Like, look at that, dude. Okay, hold on. The inside of the cab was a pain, but I'll get to that. But I still have some electrical problems with his pickups and stuff, but I'll try to work that out before I start shooting again. From the front, what did I even do? Okay, I painted his hook black. His vacuum pipe was broken when I bought him because these 2016 models are, every one I've gotten, a piece is broken off of them, so yippee. His face does come off, but see, there's a little hole underneath his face, which I have to pry the face off of because it sticks on pretty well, so. These bolts are green. Oh, that's black. This whole part's black. I think it was originally green. So, and the inside of the wheels, the axle is green as well. I didn't really do much to his body, really. It's when you get around, I think that's it, right? I think that's it. Yeah. When it comes around to the back, though, look at all that detail I had to paint. I painted all that detail in there. There's crew members, but I had to paint all that in there, and that was so hard to do, but I'm telling you, when you put effort like that into things, they look really, really good, and you feel good about yourself in the end. Okay, painted the coupling mat right here. That's about it for his body. I can't really think of anything else. Let's move him right here. His tender, I painted this entire axle box part black, which does heaps to the model, because for some reason Hornby kept it green and it looks super ugly, so I've gone in and done this. Hello, Runaway Truck Studios. So I've gone in and painted that black, and that looks much, much better in my opinion. I'm going to detail the inside of that soon. He came with a broken handrail because the packaging sucks on these new models. I've even painted the underneath black because I'm OCD like that. I think that's about it. His back vacuum pipe was also broken because, again, the packaging's terrible on these new ones. Yeah, that's about it. I didn't really have to do much to Henry because he's pretty much a perfect model. This model I've had to do the most things to because ever since I bought him, he was broken, and this is the reason I have stopped collecting 2016 Hornby items, is because of this Gordon right here. And most of y'all know that Gordon is actually permanently attached to his tender, but I've done a modification to where I've rewired the tender to run on its own. Because whenever you're filming and these two things are permanently connected, it's terrible. It's stupid, so now I can detach them, and it makes it a lot easier. And as most people know, these lamp irons come in upside down, but I fixed that problem. His buffers are matte at the front, and so is that little hook. There's his face. I love the face on this. I really do. Like, it doesn't say, like, I'm proud as in the best, but it just says, hi, I'm Gordon, and I'm very happy today. This is Matt right here. That's Matt Black. I removed the coupling on him, though, because the coupling looks weird with him. Because he is an express engine. As y'all can probably see, there's something different with his wheels. I've had to remove that because that entire part was bent whenever I got him. Because Hornby's new manufacturing in China can't seem to understand how to produce model trains. Which is great. This part was originally blue. I painted that part black. Bolts are blue. I think the better thing, though, about not having that rod is when his wheels go around, it looks like they're making bigger motion, so that's kind of cool, I guess. I was thinking about painting these red, but in the end, I think they look better just being how they are. I'm looking at, I feel like I've done a lot to them. I think I just did a lot to them, like, you know, having to fix him to where he can roll again, because he used to not be able to roll at all. Okay, his crew members are pretty loose now, but this detail was super hard, and he had an open firebox, so I got creative with my orange and red paint and made it look like there was a fire in there. It looks a lot nicer in real life than it does on this camera, but it was really fun to do. This hook, I made a custom little hook part here, which connects onto the tender, which I've had to make a custom pin for. And it was already the same shade of blue, so I didn't have to worry about that. It was a blue paper clip, which I cut parts off of. As you might already notice, this part is black, and it was originally blue. And again, that changes it heaps. The back, I painted the lamp irons black on the back of the tender, and the vacuum pipe was already installed. One thing I don't like about this Gordon, though, is that it has circular buffers for some reason. I don't know why they're like that. I've tried removing them, but they're, like, glued on. I don't know why they're circular. For those who don't know, the old Hornby Gordon got this right. Here he is. The old one has oval buffers, which is a lot more accurate. But he has thinner wheels, which is really stupid. The thinner wheels are kind of pointless. Now, people have asked me, which one do you prefer, the new models or the old models? And I do get the newer models because, to be honest, they get views. And plus, I like having the old ones and the new ones to compare them, you know, put them side by side. But I will always prefer the older ones. The older ones are always going to be my favorite. But these ones aren't bad. It's just the way that they're built. They're built a lot cheaper, but the price is still the same. I think if they would have cheapened the price, I wouldn't be as mad about this. But I paid $200 for this Gordon, and it didn't work out of the box. And I had to spend months and months trying to find out a way to fix them. So, yeah, not exactly the best thing for me. Although I did learn a lot of things along the way with this Gordon. So that's why I haven't had many problems ever since. I have a few more minutes left, so I'm going to cover a few more of my models, and I might make another part where I show off some rolling stock and the rest of them. So let me just grab maybe 2 more. I'll grab 2 more. Then I'll call it a night, and then come back tomorrow and stream. So, just going to... These guys are... Alright, the crew members are coming out on Gordon because his platform is kind of unsteady. I'm not going to bother to show off engines like Toby and stuff because I've done like nothing to them to modify them. So, okay, I just grabbed my next 2. So yeah, Toby's not going to be in this video. I'm not going to be showing off Diesel or Airy or yeah, I won't be showing them off because I barely modified them at all. Diesel I haven't even modified in the slightest because he's pretty much perfect. With Airy though, I just painted his bolts black, and with Toby, his face can just come off. Like, there's not an actual modification on Toby, so. Okay, let's move on to the next 2. And these 2 are both Bachmann, and they both are some of my nicest looking ones. Emily and Salty, so I'll move Salty over here. Let's look at Emily. So Emily is one of my favorite Bachmann models, and she's probably the only Bachmann model I prefer over the Hornby counterpart. So here's the front. So this mold is an Emily. I made a mold of the Bachmann Emily face, and I repainted it, and I kind of put my own twist on it, so I think this face looks a lot nicer. I love the way this face turned out. Her buffer's cracked here. There's nothing I can really do about that. So I try to make her look a lot like her Season 11 model. Let's move the tender out of shot real fast. So, I'm going to put a piece of black cardstock right here, because you can see like the entire axle right there, but I repainted the buffers gold, this part gold. I kept this part bronze. I'll probably paint it gold though. Yes, that's about it on the front end. The face is custom and people seem to love it, so that's great. I've given her a matte finish rather than that annoying shiny finish, so she looks a lot like her TV series model now. So. The bolts right here are painted green. I don't think they actually were in the TV series. I think they did that only in the CGI series, but I like keeping all the engines the same. This little part I painted green too. I don't think it actually is in the entire series, but I did that just because I thought it looked cool, in all honesty. I want to give her separately applied handrails. I don't have any extra handrails, but once I do, I will make sure to do that. I'd also like to make her windows actual windows, and it looks like originally they were going to do that. I'm just blocking the in-cab detail so I can show that for later. What else? just gonna look at her. Oh, yes. Okay, this is a really small detail. See that little gold dot on the axle? That was originally silver, but I made it gold to look like the Markland chassis that they used in the series. That's a really small detail, but I figured I'd show it off. I think that's about it. So the inside of the cab looks a bit lopsided. Like, I think that's what it should look like. I was painting it on an uneven surface. It doesn't look as good as Edwards because I was starting to run out of paint, so I just kind of improvised with what I had. So, I mean, it's not terrible. And again, you're only going to be seeing like that much of it anyway. So here's Emily. Here's her tender, which I've had to fix up. Here's the sorry about that. Here's the tender I've had to fix up many times. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay. Yes, I would like to see rolling stock. Okay, great. Stay tuned for tomorrow because I'll be showing off some custom rolling stock and some weathering techniques I'm going to share with y'all. I have a lot of techniques which are really cheap. Like they really won't cost you anything. And they look great. So anyway, here's her tenders. That middle wheel is a fake. And these two wheels aren't actually Emily's original wheels. I still have her original tender wheels. This wheel is fake because the problem is her middle wheel was originally a flange wheel and it touched the track. So whenever it went around curves, it would derail. So I just gave her a fake one. And again, no one seemed to notice. So it sometimes touches on straights, which is fine, but on curves, it lifts up. So no problems derailing. These wheels are the same. Like they're spoke wheels like Emily's tender wheels are, but they're smaller because her tender sat up like to here, like literally to like right up here, and it was way too tall. So now it's leveled up with the running board, and it looks a lot more proportionate that way. The back, okay, the gold came, I think I'm going to redo the gold in the front buffers because when they dried kind of weird, but the ones on the back dried perfectly. Look how shiny the ones on the back are compared to the front. Like, I think I'm going to sand down these buffers and repaint them gold, but because they didn't come out so good. But the ones on the back, I think this gold came out amazing. Her buffers were originally, I'm trying to think if they're bronze. I think they were silver. I think they were originally silver. So I made them gold. And it looks way better that way, in my opinion. Because I see Emily as a very, her basis is based on a very royal engine, so yeah. Okay, now last model I'm only going to show off briefly, and tomorrow I will show y'all the rest of my engines which I've modified and stuff, and I'll show you my rolling stock because apparently people do want to see that. There's Salty. Right off the bat, his face looks ugly. Why does it look ugly? Because this is not the face I normally use. The problem is that the normal face I use is his original face, but it doesn't stick on very well. It comes off all the time. So this is just one I keep on him when I have him on display on my shelf, and he faces this way. So because you don't even see the front, as long as you see that. So this face is just a placeholder, so don't mind that. I'm gonna move Emily because I'm probably gonna hit her with my arm while I'm doing this. Okay, so what you can probably see right off the bat is I have given this guy a heap. I love the way it looks on the back. Just a bunch of weathering on this guy. I've given him a matte finish as well because I hate the shiny finishes. I've weathered his side rods and everything. I'd say that this model actually isn't very accurate. It looks very long, especially up here. I've cut it about that much and move it down. I think the Erdl Salty is probably the most accurate Salty, in all honesty, but this one's still pretty good. The bolts are black. I'm also just getting off topic here. I'm going to try to weather in orange and brown to look like rust, which I've never actually done before. But I tried it on one of my wagons, and it came out like this. So it looks pretty good. So I'm going to weather like that before I start shooting for the rest of my episodes again. anyway, I've made a bunch of black here. Like, I weathered in pretty much every spot, but I weathered more in certain spots, like the air intake and stuff here. Even weathered on the side rods. On the front, okay, so these buffers were originally black, I think, but I made them brown because I didn't have bronze, so I made it brown and I put a bit of a sparkle effect. You can't really tell. In real life, you can tell, but on here, you can't really tell. But they got a bit of a sparkle effect. It's okay. I think I might move the hook a bit down, but I've gotten rid of that front coupling by putting basically tape right here and trying to match the yellow. And yellow is one of the hardest colors to match. But, you know, thank God I had a weather over it anyway. So, he looks like this. So, the front doesn't look too bad. The back is my favorite, though. I love the, like, how I weathered a lot right here and a lot right here, not very much up there. I think that came out great. These cab windows are black, which I'm glad they are, because the silver was really ugly. There you go. Basically just a weathering job. Okay, so that was it for my models today. Tomorrow I will continue and I will show you all the rolling stock I've modified, or I mean some of the rolling stock is just completely custom, like some of these open wagons and stuff. But yeah, I'll finish up tomorrow. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm glad that y'all enjoyed my customs. I put a lot of time into these. So thank you for watching. James15 signing out, and stay tuned for the rest of the stream, which will be tomorrow. So see you guys next time.